Welcome back, all my friends. Today on Painting with a Purpose, I'm going to show you guys how to make an ice cream cone. The colors you're going to need are pretty much every color you have: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, white, brown, and black. The brushes that we always use are your medium flat brush and your medium and small round brush. Don't forget to have a handy dandy rag nearby and a cup of water for washing your brushes. So let's get started. We are going to start on our background for our ice cream cone. And to do that, I'm going to blend purple into blue with some white in the middle. So I'm going to start just by making lines of white right here in the middle. I'm using quite a bit of paint because I do want it to be slightly lighter in the middle. Some lines of paint, doesn't really matter how long they are. Mine are about 2 to 3 inches long. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off, not wash it off. I'm going to go with purple, and I'm going to bring my purple on the top of my canvas. And you can change which colors you have. I thought this blue to purple might be really nice with an ice cream cone. But I'm going to bring this color all the way down to the white without touching it. We're getting really close, but we're not going to touch it yet. I'm going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with blue at the bottom. So I'm now going to take my blue and pull it up just like it did on the top. I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to wipe it off, and it's time for blending. So how I'm going to blend is I'm going to start from the center of the white, and I'm going to pull it into the blue, and I'm just going to go straight up and down halfway, making sure that those lines are nice and neat, pulling that blue into that white. I'm going to wipe that brush off, and I'm going to do the exact same thing at the top. I'm going to pull from the purple into the white, stopping just before I hit the blue. Now this is where the fun is. You're going to start up here, and you're going to pull a straight line down and then a straight line back up, and you're going to go all the way across your canvas. So you're going to pull a straight line down and the same row back up, move over a row, down, back up. If you start to get too much paint on your brush, all you have to do is wipe it off and then continue as you go across. I'm going to take that brush and wash it off and just set it aside for a minute. I want you to let your painting dry. When we come back, we will add in our ice cream cone. Now that your canvas is dry, it's time to put some ice cream on this canvas. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with our medium round brush, and we're going to have to create a light brown color for our cone. So we're going to take a scoop of brown and just place it someplace in the middle of your canvas, as well as grab some white. Make sure you pull that white from the edge so that you still have clean white at the end. I'm also going to throw a little bit of yellow in there because I want it to be a golden color. Mix those three colors up and let's see what we get. That's a great color. If you notice, I did add a little bit more brown to mine. So our cone shape is going to be a triangle. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the halfway point in our canvas. And we want to go just below that halfway point, and we're going to make a straight line across. And then with that straight line, we are just going to bring it down to a point and paint that in. Now, while this paint is still wet, what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of white to it to give it some dimension. We don't want it to look like a flat triangle piece. So with that paintbrush and with just a dab of white, I'm going to come over here on the top and I'm going to make a number 7. Now with that number 7, I'm going to pull those lines down all the way to the point. And I'm just going to pull that all the way across. And what's going to happen is I'm going to have a lighter area over here and a darker area over here. I'm going to go right back the other way. And then my cone color will be done, although we'll add details to it later. Perfect. Take that brush and wash it off. Now we are going to use white paint to outline where all of our ice cream is going to go. Your ice cream does not have to be vanilla, but what I want you to do is I want you to still outline your ice cream shape. Ice cream is pretty easy. It's a lump, okay? It is not anything fancy schmancy. It's a lump. So it's going to start a little bit above your cone as an arch, and then underneath it we're going to make a scallop line. Don't worry if it mixes in with your brown. And then above that, you can make another arch, and this can be right on top, or it can be tilted a little bit. I'm gonna make this tilted a little bit. My arch, and my scallop line has to sit on top of the first one. Now I'm gonna take some paint and I'm gonna paint the top one in. And then my second one, I don't want to go right up against this curve because I want to make sure I could see it still. So I'm going to go just below it. Plus that'll help us add a shadow in later. Wash that brush off. Now while we're waiting for this to dry, we are going to add a few details to the background. We're going to add some polka dots, and these polka dots can be any color you want, but I want you to start with the color white. I always do polka dots with my finger, so I'm going to take one finger full of white and make some circles in my background. And some of these circles I want to be big and some I want to be small. I'm also going to use the back of my paintbrush to make some very small polka dots. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add our details to our cone itself. I'm going to find my itty bitty baby brush. And I'm going to use a series of white and brown crossed lines to make my details on my cone. So first I'm going to start with my brown paint, and with my brown paint on my itty bitty baby brush, I am going to create lines that copy my angle. So this is my dark brown, not my light brown, and I'm just going to make lines that copy my angle. I'm going to grab a clean small brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with white. So I'm just going to copycat those lines with white. So then I'm going to get both the dark and light lines on there. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our polka dots and we're gonna add a little bit more fun to them. You could decide if you wanna keep yours all white, or you can add an accent color. I'm going to choose orange. I like the way that orange and blue and orange and purple look together because they're opposites each other on the color wheel. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna color in the whole circle. In my bigger circles, I'm going to simply make smaller areas that do not go right in the middle. So on all of these little dots, I'm going to add some smaller areas of orange, and I might get crazy and add some other colors in there too. So let's talk about our ice cream color. My favorite kind of ice cream, it is mint chocolate chip. And my second favorite kind of ice cream is strawberry. So I'm gonna make mint chocolate chip and strawberry. Now mint chocolate chip is usually a lighter green. So what I have to do is take some of my green paint, set it to the side, grab some of that white paint pulling from the side so I don't get all of it dirty, and mix it to a nice light green color. And then I have to decide which one's gonna be which. I'm gonna put my mint chocolate chip on top and my strawberry on the bottom. So I'm just gonna outline my entire ice cream top with this light green paint. Now, if your paint is still a little bit too wet, you might wanna let it dry. Wipe that brush off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more darker green and put it right inside of that color I already had. This will be how I add my details, by just having a little bit of a darker color. Maybe a little bit more green. So with this little bit of darker color, I'm going to outline the bottom of my ice cream, making like little U's or maybe even little smiley faces on it. I'm going to add some curves on my ice cream top. I'm going to wash my brush off. Now, of course, you have to have the chips with your mint chocolate chip. So I'm going to use the back of my baby brush, and I'm going to use brown dots. This is the dark brown, and I'm going to place them just about anywhere I want them to be. Now it's time for me to make my strawberry ice cream. And again, I'm gonna have to mix a little bit, so I'm gonna take some red and put it to the side and some white, pulling from a side I have not pulled from yet, and make a nice, good strawberry color. And with that paint, I am going to outline, going all the way up to that green. Wipe my brush off. Of course, just like I did before, add some more red to that light color so I could do my detail lines. And with straight red, I'm gonna line the top of this just by dabbing some small little areas right up there to give it a shadow. Smooth it out a little bit. Wash that brush off. Now, of course, I need to add my cherry on top, and I'm going to show you a really easy way to make a cherry. You take your finger in red paint. You set it going at an angle on one side. Then you set it going at an angle on the other side, connecting at the bottom. Look at how cute that is. Great little cherry. I'm gonna take my black paint and make a little cherry stem. And then we're gonna let our painting dry for just a minute so that we can add our details. So let your painting dry and then come right back. Now that your painting is dry, it's time to put some final touches on this cute little ice cream cone. First things first, we're gonna add some highlights to our ice cream. So grab that clean baby brush with a little bit of white paint. We are going to do the same thing we did with our little U shapes, but lighter. Very small little highlights. And these can be ghost lines where sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't. And then we're gonna do the same thing up here with little baby white lines, just a couple of lines, little U shapes or smiley faces, just to kind of highlight our ice cream scoops. Same thing on our red one. Don't forget to add a small highlight to that cherry right on the top. We're just gonna do a little rainbow shape. And then let's talk about finishing up these polka dots. So with all of these little baby polka dots, now that they're dry, you can go in with your baby brush and do a small dot. And you don't have to do all of them. Do a small dot on some of them. And the last little detail on our circles is I'm going to use a little bit of black paint. And if this worries you, wait till it's dry and use a Sharpie. And I'm going to outline just parts of the circle. Not all of it, just parts of it. So I'm making little C shapes and U shapes all over, making sure that I change the angle. I don't want all of them going up like a U. I want some to be at the top, some to be at the side, and some to be at the bottom. The very last thing you're going to do is you're going to sign your name. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and post your finished product on our Painting with a Purpose Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your sweet treat. Have a great day, friends.